Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And today is our TOEIC unit, the test of English for international communications. And some of you, of course, are going to use your English skills to do just that, to communicate internationally with people from other countries. So we're trying to give you some information that you could use in conversations one day with business clients or whatever, or maybe in your university studies or whatever. So yeah, today we're talking about some advice that an art therapist is going to give us. Hey, that's pretty cool. I like art, and I'd really like to hear what an artist therapist would have to tell me.
I like this idea. Some people need therapy. Maybe they're really stressed or they're upset or life isn't going well. And instead of just talking about your problems with a doctor, a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, sometimes they'll recommend an art therapist so that you learn how to relax through a hobby of some sort, something that makes you happier. So we're going to talk about what an art therapist does and some of the advice that an art therapist would give.
Okay, let's do just that. So let's read the entire contents of our lesson right now, and then we'll come back to discuss it.
Hi, everyone. Glad to have you here. Now, you might know that during these chaotic times, many people have been turning to art. This is great news because not only is art fun and creative, but it can also significantly improve mental health. As an art therapist, I can testify that many patients have found recovery through art. Certain art activities and strategies are exceptionally therapeutic, so I want to convey some of them to you. One of the fundamental aspects of art is color, and it's a useful means for communicating various emotions. You might choose a hue that exhibits your mood and start playing with it on paper. You can also heighten your concentration by doing more formal color exercises, like painting the color wheel or indulging in a coloring book. Another essential part of art is form. Draw various shapes of different sizes and in different places. You can also use art tools to make different kinds of marks. Experiment and see what speaks to you. Some particular styles can really help people process certain things in their life. Creating a symbolic mandala, for example, can help patients deal with traumas while eliminating damaging thoughts about them. Zentangle, a repetitive and personal way of drawing, lets artists relax deeply while they put their feelings into their art. I have many more techniques to share, and that's why I host online therapeutic art workshops regularly. I hope you'll join the next one, and we can create some meaningful art together.
Okay, everybody, let's talk about our TOEIC article for the month of December. We're getting close to the end of 2020, by the way, so you better start getting used to saying 2021. Okay, that's just going to be in a couple of days here. Happy New Year if we don't have a chance to say it to you before that time. But today we've got an art therapist giving us some advice. And I guess since the New Year is coming up here, some of us might be making New Year's resolutions, and maybe this art therapist can help you out, help you improve your life or something, maybe take up drawing or doing some of these things that this article suggests. You might have a very nice year next year.
You might, yeah. I think this is a great topic, actually. And because of COVID, a lot of people were stuck at home for a long time. And, needed some way to fill the time so they didn't go crazy. Or sometimes this is just a regular thing that therapists and psychologists will suggest to their patients. Take up a hobby or, indulge yourself in some art therapy. I think art can be really good for the soul.
It certainly can. And later on, of course, in the article, we're going to find out that Even the average Joe or average Jane can do something creative with art. You don't have to be a Pablo Picasso or a Rembrandt or whatever. You can actually benefit from some very simple drawings, as we're going to find out. So in today's program, we've got an art therapist. A therapist, of course, is somebody who tries to help you heal. My sister used to be a respiratory therapist. She would help people with breathing problems. We have physical therapists out there as well. In this particular case, though, this is an art therapist. They're using art to help people maybe relax more in their lives or get over some tragedy or something like that.
Right.
I'm sure they have a very useful role to play in our society.
I'm sure they do. So let's get started. I read this as if I was an art therapist myself. So she's welcoming people there. She might be online. Maybe she's a YouTuber. We don't know. So she's glad to have the viewers there. We'd actually call them viewers. Now, you might know that during these chaotic times, and I think she's referring to the COVID times, many people have been turning to art. So if you are in a chaotic situation or someone is saying something's chaotic, it just means there's a lot of confusion. Things are a little crazy. They're not well organized or disciplined. Sometimes when kids get together and play, it can be kind of chaotic. You know, they have lots of toys out. There's a lot of running and laughing and screaming and crying. All those things together, it can be chaotic. But a lot of people, to get away from that chaos, and chaos is the noun form of the adjective chaotic, they need something else. So some of these folks are turning to art.
They're turning to art. Yes, maybe you could appreciate art by going to see exhibitions.
Yeah.
Or you could try your hand at it yourself. So that's what our art therapist is telling us. These are chaotic, confusing times. You might get stuck in chaotic traffic during rush hour.
Yeah.
So you're all nervous, you're all tense, and maybe art is the thing for you. Well, here the art therapist says, this is great news because not only is art fun and creative, but it can also significantly improve mental health. So this is great news, the fact that lots of people have been turning to art. They've been trying art. And it's good news because it's not only fun and creative, but also it can improve your mental health. So it's got a lot of good things going for it.
It sure does. Now, she is an art therapist. That's her job. She says she can testify that many patients have found recovery through art. If you can testify to something, it just means you're able to witness or to give evidence, usually in a court of law. Maybe you're a witness and you're testifying as to what you saw. Maybe you saw the bank robber go into the bank and rob the bank. Well, you can also testify, just meaning you've been through this, you have experience, and you can tell someone, yeah, this works, or no, this doesn't work, or yes, I suggest this. So she can testify that her patients have found recovery through art. They've gotten better through art therapy.
Indeed, and the therapist here goes on to say, certain art activities and strategies are exceptionally therapeutic, so I want to convey some of them to you. So yes, certain art activities and certain art strategies or plans are therapeutic. Therapeutic means they help you heal. They have to do with healing. It's related to the word therapy. Therapy is the noun, and therapeutic is the adjective. This is a very therapeutic activity, for example. Or maybe knitting can be therapeutic for people, especially if their pet dog just died or something. Maybe they can take up knitting and it can be therapeutic so they can deal with the loss. So these strategies and activities are not only therapeutic, but they are exceptionally therapeutic. So we've got the word exceptionally here. That's an adverb. It just means a high degree of something. It is really, really therapeutic, greatly therapeutic. It is beyond normal.
So what this art therapist wants to do is she wants to convey some of these art activities and strategies to the people listening. To convey something just means to communicate some sort of message. So you can also convey something by maybe using a gesture with your body, an expression on your face, your hands, your shoulders. If you shrug, it just means, I don't know, I don't care. You're conveying some sort of message. Convey also, just so you know, means you're transporting or carrying something to another place. A lot of times we'll use the military is conveying some weapons to the soldiers in the field. But here it just means to communicate some sort of message. Let's look at some of these art activities and strategies now.
Okay, so one of the fundamental aspects of art is color, and it's a useful means for communicating various emotions. Okay, so yes, if we think about art, yes, we think about sketching with charcoal or with pens or whatever. Those tend to be in black and white. But of course, we all look forward to the day when we can actually color our drawings using pastels or acrylic paint or oil paint or watercolor or whatever. So yes, color is a fundamental aspect of art, and it's a useful means for communicating various emotions, which sounds reasonable. If you're kind of angry, of course, maybe you're going to turn red. If you're relaxed and happy, maybe it's more blue or something, or blue can be sad. So again, colors kind of represent emotions.
Sure do. Now, those colors might be different shades of different colors. Let's see what they have here. You might choose a hue that exhibits your mood. Hue is just a color or a shade of a color. Sometimes you could say it's a very light hue, a hue of brown or a shade of brown. So you can choose a color that exhibits or demonstrates your mood. Yeah, you might use red if you're really angry, right? You might use green if you're feeling like, I don't know, you want to get out in nature. Who knows? So you can use different colors, and then you start playing with those colors on paper.
Exactly. So they show your mood, and you can, of course, experiment with different colors. Get yourself a set of crayons or something. Don't feel ashamed that they're for kids. Adults can use them as well. You can also heighten your concentration by doing more formal color exercises, like painting the color wheel or indulging in a coloring book. And yes, there are these adult coloring books out there that are for sale. Lots of people use them. It's not silly. People actually benefit from coloring. It's not just for kids anymore. And yes, you can heighten your concentration. If you're having difficulty focusing on things, you keep thinking about what your coworker said to you yesterday and you just can't let it go. And this way, maybe you can focus on something and not worry about all those other things in your life. There are lots of color exercises you can do. One example here is to paint the color wheel, which is basically a wheel that has all the colors in a circle. You've got, let's see, red, you've got blue, and you've got yellow in different parts of the circle, and then there are different colors in between them. Of course, if you mix, say, red and blue, you get purple. If you mix blue and yellow, you get green, and then you get this whole circle.
A color wheel is also used, ladies, to inform you as to what colors would look best with your skin and hair shade. So that's kind of a fun thing to look at. Now, another essential or important part of art is form, the shapes that things take. So there are various shapes of different sizes and in different places. You can also use art tools to make different kinds of marks. Experiment with those art tools like a paintbrush or a crayon or a pencil and see what speaks to you. If something speaks to you, it means you understand it. You can relate to it. So if a piece of music speaks to you, it means it really is kind of inspiring to your soul.
Indeed, it can speak to you and it can mean something special to you. So, of course, these are different kinds of exercises that you can try, and you might be surprised they might actually change your life. Now, here in the next paragraph, it says, some particular styles can really help people process certain things in their life. Okay, like music and art and literature, there are different styles of these things, and we've got different styles of art, whether it be color exercises or line exercises or whatever. They can help you process certain things in your life. Let's give you an example here. Creating a symbolic mandala, for example, can help patients deal with traumas while eliminating damaging thoughts about them. So all of us at some point in our lives will experience some sort of trauma or some kind of drama, some kind of crisis. We lose our pet cat, or maybe a child passes away, or we lose a parent or someone close to us or whatever. Some kind of tragedy there. So yes, you can use this mandala because it's symbolic. If something's symbolic, that means it represents something and it serves as a symbol for something. It's symbolic. I guess they say that a diamond ring is symbolic of a man's love for a woman. That, of course, was manufactured a long time ago. Emeralds and sapphires are far more valuable than diamonds are. So, guys, get your wife a sapphire instead of a diamond. But that's another subject. Here we've got this symbolic mandala, which is what those Tibetan monks do with sand, right? They create these big designs on the ground and then they just erase it.
Yeah, they don't last for long, and then they are erased, yeah. So this can actually help patients deal with the trauma that they've gone through. And it also helps eliminate or get rid of damaging thoughts about them. You might want to eliminate some of the extra furniture in your apartment so you have more space. Or you might want to eliminate negative thoughts as you take tests so you do better on your tests if you're thinking positive thoughts. Now, here's something I had not heard of. Tom knew about it because he loves to draw, but it's called Zentangle, and it's a repetitive and personal way of drawing. If something's repetitive, it just means you keep repeating it, and it's personal. So you can draw whatever you want to. It lets artists relax deeply. Well, they put their feelings into their art. Maybe getting out their frustration and stress on the paper helps.
Yeah, you can find Zentangle videos online there. You can get some ideas. They can be quite therapeutic. And here in the last paragraph it says, I have many more techniques to share, and that's why I host online therapeutic art workshops regularly. I hope you'll join the next one and we can create some meaningful art together. Now, this art therapist here, of course, is just for our program today, but I'm sure there are lots of art therapists online or on YouTube or whatever. So if you're interested in checking something like this out, yeah, go online and try to find some of those therapeutic art workshops. Hey, you can join one and create some art together with the therapist or with other people. It can be quite a moving experience for you. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. We need to now hear from our Chinese teacher.
Hello, my name is Shelby. 今天介绍艺术减轻压力的方法。标题中 Art Therapist 艺术治疗师 Therapy 是治疗，省略 Y 再加上 IST 表示人，变成治疗师。第一段以第一人称向大家介绍 Hi everyone， 你们也许都知道，在这纷扰不断的时期，许多人寻求艺术。第二句动词 have been turning to art，turn to somebody or something 表示说寻求谁的帮助，相当于 run to art 或者 look to art。写成完成进行式，表示一直在追求艺术的帮忙。下一句说，这是项好消息，不只是艺术好玩有创意，而且能够显著地改善心理健康。Not only, but also 对等连接两个子句。Not 是否定副词，当否定副词放在句首，句子要写成倒装形式，动词 is 与主词 art 颠倒。Fun and creative 是形容词，那 but 引导的子句则不做任何的变化。接着后两句又说，身为一位艺术治疗师，我可以保证许多患者好转，借由艺术。某些艺术活动极具疗效，所以我想要传达给你们。最后一句中的 are exceptionally therapeutic， exceptionally 特别的， therapeutic 有疗效的，也是 therapy 家族字变化之一。Therapy 治疗用来强调身体或心理上的治疗，通常不使用药物。这一点呢，与 treatment 治疗是不同的。treatment 这个字通常比较强调药物治疗。第二段前两句说，其中一个根本面向是颜色，而它是一个有用的方式传达各种情绪。你可以选择一种颜色来表现你的心情。第二句中的生字 hue 颜色， a light hue 淡的颜色 ，a dark hue 就深颜色。除了 hue 颜色还可以用 color 或者 tint T-I-N-T 或者 shade S-H-A-D-E 来表示。第三句中 heighten your concentration 提高你的注意力 heighten 提高，省略字为 en 变成名词 heighten 的反义字就是 lower 或者是 reduce 降低。接着后半句借由做正规的色彩活动，像是画出色环或者是沉浸在着色本中。动词片语 indulge in something indulge 沉溺于，还可以后面加上反身代名词 oneself He indulges himself in luxury 他放纵豪奢当中。我们到第三段，他要举一个特殊例子，某些特殊的形式确实能帮助人们解决生活中特定问题。我们到第一句看到 help people process help 后面的 to v 经常省略 to 直接加原形动词 process 处理，名词动词同形也是 process 表过程，字尾加上 ed 变形容词加工过的 processed food 加工食品。第二句中 Symbolic Mandala 象征性的曼陀罗 Symbol 是象征，字尾加上 ic 做形容词 Mandala 是佛教或回教中的曼陀罗。创作曼陀罗能够帮助处理创伤，同时消除负面想法。Eliminate 是消灭，这里保留 while 连接词，但省略相同主词。Eliminate 加上 ing 变成了 eliminating 的分词构句。最后一句提到 Zentangle Zen 是缠的音译， Tangle 则是指缠绕式的绘画方式，中文称之为缠绕画，是一种反复性的个人绘画风格，使艺术家深度放松。到最后一段，我还有更多的技巧要分享，而这也是为什么我会举办线上艺术治疗工作坊。 That's 加上 why 子句当作主词补语，是间接问句，这时候 why 后面直接加主词加动词，不要写成疑问句形式。动词 host 主办的意思。我希望你们加入我们一起创造独具意义的艺术作品吧。看最后一句中间的 some meaningful art 的 some 当某一，修饰单数名词，这里形容 art 某种艺术。 some 不当作一些，而是当某一，这种特殊的字义，同学不妨留意一下。好，以上是今天的讲解，谢谢收听。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We just had a pretty good discussion there about our art therapist, but we've got some useful expressions to talk about today, some things in language that you should know about to help improve your listening, speaking, writing, and reading ability. Now, the first one is something called Discourse Markers. That's something that a lot of English teachers would know about because they have to teach this stuff, but most people don't really know that term, although they know what these things are.
Yeah, discourse is a conversation, and a marker is something that kind of is a symbol or a way forward or back. So here you could also think of this as transitional phrases or words. Especially when you're giving a presentation, we would teach these to the business English students I had. I would use these different transitional words or phrases. So here's a way to go back to an earlier topic. Maybe you get off track for a minute and you want to get back on track. So you want to use a discourse marker. So to go back to an earlier topic, you might use the word anyway or anyhow. Let's look at the chart I mentioned a minute ago. So that can get you back on track. If maybe someone in the audience had a question and you started answering the question and you thought, how do I get back to the original order that I was going in. This is a way to get back to an earlier topic.
Yep, you can use these words, and intonation is pretty important. You kind of go like, well, anyway, or well, we could say this. You kind of use that sort of tone there. Anyhow, let's look at the chart I mentioned a minute ago. I talked about it before, but I didn't really talk about it. So, well, now let's go back to that topic. So that's what you do if you want to go back to an earlier topic. Now, part of your discourse here, sometimes in your discourse, you want to introduce a new topic. So for setting up a new topic, doing a transition there, you can say things like this. Now, okay, so, etc. You say those things with that intonation, and then people will understand that you're kind of moving on to a new subject.
Yeah, and it is very important to get the intonation right, how it sounds to people. So, I want to start the meeting, so, to get people to stop talking. So, I want to start the meeting by welcoming our newest staff member. Now, if you have something negative that you need to say, you want to soften it. You don't want people to be offended. So you could say, well, I'm not sure, or you see, I'm not sure if I'll be able to help you because I'm busy with my own stuff. So there are ways to soften negative statements that you need to make. Now, moving on to discussion questions, I'll ask you, Tom, first.
Okay.
What kind of hobby or activity do you do to reduce stress in your life, and how does it help you?
Well, I do a lot of exercise. Of course, I lift weights and listen to music at the same time. So that kind of takes my mind off of things. But also, these Zentangle things, or doodling, as we sometimes call it, just drawing little pictures on the paper, doing stuff like that can actually help reduce stress. How about you? What do you do to reduce stress in your life?
Yeah, I listen to music like you do. I go for long walks with music that makes me happy. And I love house plants. So I spend a lot of time taking care of my plants and watering them, talking to them. It makes me feel good when I walk in my apartment and they're all so beautiful and green. That's one of the things I like to do.
Indeed, and of course, you could all benefit from a discussion like this yourselves. Yes, talk about this with your classmates and your friends. Yeah, what do you do in your daily life to reduce stress? We don't want you to have stressful lives out there. We want all of us to be nice and happy and relaxed. Okay, that brings us to the end of our discussion for today, and we're going to talk more about art therapy in our next program, so please join us then. From all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
See ya.